everyone, it's Ashley here, and I'm really excited to take a few minutes today to talk to you guys about how to prepare yourself for a healing. And in the context of what I do, this would be preparing yourself to receive an angelic Reiki healing from me, or participating in any angelic Reiki group events or galactic angelic Reiki group events. So what I like to recommend to people when they ask me, like, what should I do before a healing, I have about, I want to say, like 9 to 10 things. There may be some more that come up in this video, but I'm going to go through those now with you because I think they're really beneficial to understand how our bodies, our minds work, and in preparation for receiving a healing. You don't have to do any of these things, but I find that when I do them for my own healings, or when I do them before I prepare to administer or hold space for an angelic Reiki for another person, I feel a lot better. I feel like I get more out of the healing, and I feel like I get more information for the other individual that I'm giving the healing for. So I thought it'd be really cool to just go over this with you guys. So before a group healing or a one-on-one healing or any sort of healing that you're receiving, I think the number one step that you need to take is setting your intention. So really set the intention. What do you want to receive in that healing? What do you want to take place? Maybe not necessarily exactly how it's going to take place, but if you have a specific ailment or a situation that you feel really needs some divine support, definitely write that down in a list, or verbally or mentally in your mind state, please help me with XYZ in this group healing or in this one-on-one Reiki healing. So if you have, a list of things, list them out. If it's just one thing, or maybe you just want like a reset, you just want to feel more balanced, you want to see what this angelic Reiki stuff is about, that's all good. And just setting that intention of receiving the greatest healing that you need in this moment or can receive in this moment is always a good place to start, and it's always enough to cover whatever it is that you need in your life. But being specific really calls attention and uses your free will muscle to say, I need help with this, please help me. And the angels, ascended masters, the galactic healers, all of them are here to support us and really work with us, but we have that free will choice to allow them to come in or not allow them to come in. So when you're signing up for a healing, you're already kind of expressing, yes, I want to do this, but you need to A, agree that you are going to receive the healing, but B, really state very clearly what it is that you're looking for help with. Whenever I help clients or groups of individuals with Reiki, I always ask for the greatest and highest good, the most anything that they can, that spirit can do to bring about perfect radiant health for an individual is what I'm going to call in, what I'm going to ask for help with. So I kind of set that, it's more broad intention, and in my one-on-ones I can get really specific with an individual, because typically, and this is how I run my group sessions as well, is I will open it up in the very beginning for questions. We'll talk about maybe what it is that we're looking for from the healing, and then I hold the healing, and then we go over afterwards, how did that go? How did we feel? What kind of messages did we get? Kind of like that. So that's how I run my one-on-ones and my group healings. Of course, with the group healings, I can't get super duper specific for every single person, but that's where you guys come in, and you're always the best advocate for yourself, and always, always, always be very specific about your intentions. And write them down or speak them verbally or in your mind. List them out in your mind. So that way it's really clear and you already know what you're coming to the table to experience or get help with. And that, I think, really helps the healing space in and of itself, because you're very clear. you kind of are stating, this is what I'm looking for, and then spirit is going to come in and try and support you with all of that. So I'm a big proponent of being very precise and very clear as to what to ask for. So I think that's the number one priority. Number two is to definitely, when you're going into a healing, you need to have a space that's going to be conducive to that healing. So your physical environment is really important. Make sure that you're able to be comfortable, so you can lay down or sit in a comfortable chair. I honestly, when I receive healings for myself, I prefer to lay down, but when I'm administering healings, I'm sitting in a chair most of the time, and that's pretty comfortable. But I like to lay down and just get really cozy, and sometimes I fall asleep, and that's totally okay. Being in that space and just allowing whatever needs to take place is the best way to go with it, because there's just going to be so much energy coming in that you just want to go with the flow. You don't want to fight it. So being in a space that's going to allow you to be comfortable, to lay down. I think lighting is really important as well. If, say, you have a big window that's open, and if it's a little too bright, you might not be able to relax as deeply as you need to. So if you have curtains, you can pull the curtains, but if, natural light is just really comforting to you and you really want to just have that bright environment, feel free to leave your windows open. I often am receiving healings in the evening for myself, so most of the time it's dark out anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but I like to have a pretty dark room, either with dim, soft lighting, or just a completely dark room. So whatever it is that's going to work for you, make it happen. It does not matter for the healing how the lighting is. It doesn't impact anything. And most of the time, especially nowadays, a lot of the healings are done via, via Facebook or distance healing, Skype, doing it very remotely. So it doesn't really matter about your environment. I would also ask in an environment that you need to have a quiet space. So not having a space where people are walking in and out, or are going to just be coming in and like cooking, or hanging out in the living room and having the TV on. You really want a quiet, nice, kind of removed space from the rest of the people maybe living in your home or apartment. And the healing itself takes about 25 to 30 minutes. For my sessions, I only hold 1 hour sessions, and typically I'm answering questions. We have the healing, which is about 25-30 minutes, and then afterwards we debrief as to what I saw, what messages I received, what information I can share with you, and maybe we're having a conversation about what you felt, if you're comfortable. So it's important to have that space, so that way you can have a quiet space and be able to process what's going on as you're receiving the healing, as well as kind of decompress and release anything that needs to be released. I find a lot of people end up crying during the healing. It's just a physical reaction to either the high vibrational energy that comes in, or it's just a means to physically release emotions, release energy out of your body. So some people cry, some people fall asleep, some people just feel really tired or very warm and relaxed. It really just depends on whatever you need in that moment and how you react to the energy. So having a space where you can do that freely is very important. We don't want, a ton of people sitting around having conversations while you're laying down or trying to receive a healing, and it's distracting, or you're not able to really be comfortable and let loose. So definitely think about that and where you would want to do it, and kind of think about what's going to be the best place for you, what's going to be comfortable. Another item is making sure that you are comfortable. Wear really comfortable clothing. There's no need to wear really restrictive clothing or clothing that's going to make you too hot or cold. Try and, if you're in a cold climate, layer up depending on your home, if it's really chilly, just be comfortable. Make sure you're comfortable, and especially if you're like laying down, you don't need your shoes on. Probably you don't even need socks on, but just kind of relax. Wear some cozy pajama bottoms and like a nice cool t-shirt. If you need a blanket, keep a blanket by you. Have a blanket nearby. If you need to cover up if you're cold. So just think about that, because ultimately I would really hate it if you're just so hot that you can't focus on the healing that you're receiving, or you're so cold that you're just really uncomfortable. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're not too hot or too cold. You don't really want that physical experience to distract you. Another thing that you really don't want to distract you is having to use the restroom really, really bad. I totally am one where, I don't know, I drink a glass of water, I immediately need to go to the bathroom. So definitely make sure you're hydrated. That's really important for a healing, but also try and make sure you go to the restroom before you are laying down to really receive a deep, relaxing healing, because you just want to be comfortable, and again, you don't want to be distracted by physical needs. So just make sure you're really relaxed and cozy. Also, diet. So for me, before a healing and before I'm holding space for people, I honestly have to avoid caffeine and sugar at least 3 to 4 hours before I'm doing any sort of healing or channeling. So I highly recommend, just for you to be in your body and to be really connected and not very amped up, or kind of have that sugar rush going on, try to avoid caffeine and sugar or any sort of stimulant that's going to really alter your focus or your state of mind, I guess. So try not to take if you have medications, take them, of course, but try not to really like drink a giant cup of coffee right before you need to lay down and you need to be in a quiet, still space. So think about that before you are ready to go into a healing, or maybe even the day before. Kind of plan out how your day is going to go, and think about, if you do need something to eat, try and focus on really natural products like fruits and vegetables, and anything that's going to be light and make you feel full but not make you feel like really sluggish or heavy or harsh on your stomach. So just play it by how you feel, but definitely think about that before you come into the healing space, because one thing I've definitely learned is, for me, if I eat right before I meditate or before I need to sit quietly and hold space for someone or many people, eating right before really distracts me. So I try not to eat even right before. I try and eat at least maybe an hour at most before the healing. So it gives me some time in my body to process that food, but I'm really focusing in on healthy, fruits, vegetables, lighter fare. And let me think here. Yeah, that's definitely one I wanted to get into. So there's that. And then also, before you go into a healing, your mind can be racing really quickly. You're really excited, or you're kind of maybe nervous or anxious. You don't really know what's going to take place for you. I highly recommend that you try and quiet your mind as much as possible, either through meditation or maybe a guided meditation, or some form of quieting your mind that works for you, whatever that may be. I know a lot of people have told me that meditation is really hard for them because they just, I don't know, can't sit still, or it's just a hard time for them to quiet their mind. But they always say, a nice walk really calms me down and helps me focus. Go on a walk right before you're healing if that's going to help you kind of be in your space, in your mind, and in your body. So I highly recommend whatever works for you. I know for me too, washing the dishes or just kind of doing like regular cleaning household activities really kind of helps me get into that kind of daydreamy, quiet space in my mind, and that really relaxes me. So if that works for you, go for it. Have at it. Have fun. As long as when you come to the healing, you're present, you're ready to go, and you're comfortable and you're able to focus on the healing. I think one of the key elements of having a healing, either in that group setting, like I'm going to be hosting a group healing here on Saturday, the 25th, July 25th at 11 a.m. And it's really exciting. There's a lot of people that have signed up. And so going into maybe a situation like that, it's easier to probably not be as focused, but I still highly recommend you really come, and you really come with intention to receive that healing and to be in that space. The one-on-ones, it's a little harder to get away with maybe not being as focused because it's just me and you, and I can see you, you can see me, and we're connecting, and I'm sending you that energy. So it's a little harder not to be as focused in that space. But that also brings one thing to mind. If you are seeking a healing, and say you're a very skeptical person, or you're a person who uses a lot of discernment, which I highly recommend. It's really important that you are, really thinking through who it is that you're going to go to, how do they make you feel, what it is that you're looking for through this experience. But I find that when people are putting a lot of expectations on what's going to take place or what they expect is going to be done for them, they often are a little bit more disappointed, or it's harder for them to kind of step out of that expectations, that space of expecting certain things to take place, because things might not happen exactly the way you want them to, or exactly the way you expect them to. And I find people, and I myself am totally guilty of this, I've expected certain things to take place and then they don't, and then I'm really disappointed, and I'm like, oh, this didn't really work well for me, or I didn't really like it, or it just didn't do anything for me. And that's because, when you put those expectations on, you have those kind of set markers where things are supposed to go a certain way, and when they don't, we often shut down, or we often kind of retreat, and we're not as open. So I just recommend that when you step into that space and you're asking for a healing, and you're coming into this, even if you're not fully on board, like you're just kind of exploring, what is this about? You may or may not like it, who knows? You're just, deciding to take a chance and see how it feels. Just try and suspend that sense of expectation as much as you can. I mentioned discernment before. I think that's another really important element. When you go to a person for a healing, make sure you feel really comfortable with that person. If you're especially doing a one-on-one, you're going to be talking about your personal needs. And if you don't feel comfortable talking about that with the person who's conducting the healing, they may not be able to help you in the best way. So really pay attention to the energy of the person. Pay attention to what maybe they've done in the past. If you are able to watch their YouTube videos or connect with them or do any sort of research on their company, definitely think about who you're going to, because you also really want to be comfortable with that person, and you want to be able to open up and be in a space of vulnerability to allow whatever fears or traumas or emotions, anything that needs to come out should really be honored. And you want to be with someone who's going to make you feel comfortable and be able to do that. So think about that as well, and focus on that, and make sure that you do feel comfortable with the person. And that's even before you're getting ready for the healing. So maybe I should have started with that. I'm not sure. It just kind of came up. But I'm checking in with my team now to see if there's anything else that they think would be beneficial for you guys to know, to prepare yourself for a healing. My guardian angel Petadiah is coming in, and she's saying that if you are interested in a healing, this is already the first step. So seeing and thinking to yourself, oh, I'm interested in healing, your guardian angels and your whole team are going to continue to support you and drive you to be in that space of healing. So they're going to really be guiding you. It's of course your free will choice. She's highlighting that for me. It's your free will choice to receive a healing or not. But once you start to think about it, and this can be in any type of healing, so this can be any sort of energy healing, any sort of healing that you're looking to participate in. If it's for your highest good, they are always going to be really supportive and try and make it as easy and comfortable and fun as possible for you, because ultimately this helps your soul. This is for your highest good. The items that this dear one described, like releasing trauma, releasing fear, releasing any stress, releasing any energy that may be blocked within your physical, mental, spiritual, emotional body. Releasing and removing all of those is always going to be beneficial. And I think she's highlighting, I'm confirming with her too, she's highlighting this so that way you guys know that your team's fully on board. And I'm just hearing clapping and cheering, and I'm seeing a lot of energies. They're like really pumped up. They're like punching the air. They're super excited. They're totally cheerleading all of you guys on. If you're interested in joining a group healing, like I said, I have my group healing on Saturday, July 25th. I will be holding a group healing later in the year, but it's not going to be for another few months after this July 25th healing. So if you're kind of on the fence, it's $25 and it's in a private Facebook group. So I think it's really worth it to just try it out. I always do one-on-one healings, so you can check out my calendar on my website, channelingwithlove.com. That's where you can register for the group healing or for my one-on-ones. So I provide those services, but whether or not you're coming to me for a healing or not, your team is just so supportive and really hoping and wanting you to take action and provide that forgiveness for yourself, that healing for yourself, that permission for you to change and transform into the best version of you. So I'm asking her if there's anything else that she wants to share. She's saying too that once you are on this path, when you really push yourself and you examine your life and you make a decision to move forward in healing, she's saying, that's like the one first step. The second step is looking for what really calls to you. That's where they're going to come in and provide guidance on how to achieve that. And that third element is that not only are you guys going to benefit yourself, but you will also benefit those that are around you, that love you and want you to be happy and support you in everything that you do. And you will really, she's showing like rippling effects, like you will affect people when you are able to move into a space of healing and allow yourself to have that healing. You're showing others that it's okay to receive that healing. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to not be clinging to fear or control or anxieties. It's okay to be a lighter, brighter person that you are, however you are, whatever that looks like for you, it's okay to be you. And that's a gift that we don't always go into healings trying to do that for others, but it's really a personal choice for ourselves, but it's definitely an amazing byproduct to help others move into that space of healing and show them that it's okay. So I'm asking my team, is there anything else? They're giving me the okay sign, the big thumbs up. And so I want to get into a little bit before I let you guys go about the aftercare of an angelic Reiki group healing. So I know this video is mainly about the prep work, what you do before the healing, but I wanted to highlight what do you do after the healing. And I think it's really important to kind of have the aftercare part of it kind of prepared for yourself in your mind, or have what you need to prepare yourself afterwards. But basically, after the healing takes place, and these are all like little things, it's not like, deep preparations or deep things that you have to do to respond to a healing. But the main element that I want to highlight is really paying attention to your intuitive guidance. So if you feel like you just need to rest, maybe you need to take an extra long nap right after a healing, maybe the next day you just feel really tired, or you just kind of feel maybe you feel in a really beautiful Zen space. But no matter what you feel, just pay attention to it. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to your mental, emotional state. And, afterwards, if part of your stress is the news, don't run out and go watch the news again, and binge watch on your, mystery TV shows. Totally a guilty pleasure for me is like true crime TV shows, detective stories. I love them, but I know that they really affect my energy, and I have to be very mindful as to how much I watch at a time and when I watch them. And I have to kind of make a choice. Is it worth watching that show enough to affect my energy? So especially after a healing, your energy may be up and down, it may be shifting because the healing's not done. The work is still being done. The angels are still with you for about I want to say like 21 to 28 days. It's almost a full 3 weeks. 28 days is more than 3 weeks, so like 3 weeks, more like 21 days, 3 weeks of time after the healing. So it can be pretty intense afterwards, and I would highly encourage you to just pay attention to what you're guided to focus on. Pay attention to what you're guided to do. You may feel like, you need to go out on a lot more walks than you used to, or you may feel guided to eat certain foods, or do certain activities that are really for your best and highest good, and really paying attention to those and following through with those is going to be in your best interest. That also may just be taking lots of naps, and that's still for your best interest, and I highly encourage it. Naps are your friend. So really focusing in on that, and I wouldn't recommend rushing out and doing a bunch of other healings right away. You have to give yourself that time. You have to do the inner work. It's kind of up to you to continue listening to yourself and continue listening to the guidance you receive around how to do that follow-up and how to take care of yourself and how to release and do a lot of the inner work that this may prompt. A healing may prompt you to do a lot of releasing or a lot of shifting in your life, and that's really important, and that's really exciting work, but it can be very I wouldn't say strenuous work, but it can be a lot of heavy lifting energetically, I should say. So think about what it is you're focusing on, what you're doing, and just be mindful of where your focus is, where your attention goes, and always use discernment with working with another individual for a healing, or use discernment with who you're following, listening to, reading their information. Really pay attention to who it is that you're connecting with, and that can be in your physical environment or online. Especially online these days, it's really important to really be mindful of where your focus is placed. So I think that aftercare, that was kind of a lot right there, but I think it's just really important to call out that you may need to prepare yourself before the healing to have extra time to sleep in every day, or have extra time to try and get a nap in, or to make just some different foods that you may feel called to make. So try and just be flexible, really be in a space of observing what it is that you're being guided to do, and give yourself that space to try new things, or to release things that no longer, maybe you're really obsessed with it for a long time and now no longer you care about it. Kind of, I'm totally in that space right now. I used to be a really big crafter. I made like, they're called junk journals. I would make them all the time and I loved doing them and it was fun. But then I kind of fell out of it, and then it became really a drain for me energetically, and it was like a lot of work, and so I had to release that and be okay with it. So that's like a really light example, but just kind of pay attention, and I hope that helps you guys. I hope all of this resonates with you. Let me know if you need me to clarify anything, or if you have any questions. Again, I'm going to be doing an angelic Reiki group healing on July 25th at 11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and it's $25 a person, and you can register at www.channelingwithlove.com, and that's my website, and that's where you can register for the course, or excuse me, the group healing, or any of my courses, or my one-on-one services as well. So yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. Thanks for listening, and I hope you all, are ready to take on some healing. Love you guys. Bye.